Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and head. Now, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off of your ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. This code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So you better go ahead and purchase those tickets, create an account, purchase those tickets to this next Pistons game because, we've been balling, man. I'm so excited to talk about this. So as you guys know, the Detroit Pistons game just finished against the Orlando Magic, and the Detroit Pistons won that ball game 106-92. It was a lot of good things to take away from in this game, but the first thing that crossed my mind as I'm watching this game is how the hell are the Pistons winning these ball games shooting like this? Like, I was watching, and obviously they fixed it a little bit better in the second half of this game against the Magic, but over the last stretch of basketball games, the last 4 to 5 games that the Pistons have played, it has not been Detroit basketball for a large majority of the game. There are some stretches where it's Detroit basketball of what I'm used to watching, where good defense is creating easy offense, and that's really how they're winning these ball games. But above all, the level of the intensity has not been there, and the Pistons really in this last stretch of 4 to 5 games have been playing to the level of competition. They've been playing to the competition of their opponents, because it's no reason that some of these games should have been as close as they were, meaning the Oklahoma City Thunder game, meaning the Cleveland Cavaliers game, meaning this game here against the Orlando Magic, because kind of tying it back to the Orlando Magic game, we were in that weird space where we couldn't score outside of Cade Cunningham and Duren. And this has happened multiple times. And I'm sure a lot of people who dislike the Pistons will continue to bring this up as an area where the Pistons may not thrive in the playoffs. But I think it's really just a rough stretch right now with a lot of the role guys not being able to get shots to fall, not being able to get these little floaters and open three-point shots to fall, which is hurting the Pistons because as a result, we're not able to score as much outside of Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren. So it is hurting us a little bit. However, in this game, to kind of go back to the Orlando Magic and the Detroit Pistons, so happy the Pistons ended up pulling this game out. I was nervous watching this first half. It was very nasty. Again, the Pistons won 106-92. And they found a way to really create that easy offense from playing good defense. This has been the big reason why the Pistons have been winning ball games, because the defense is showing up every night, regardless of how the offense is looking during these rough periods where we can't make a shot, where we're shooting 1 for 15 and 1 for 16 from the three-point line. This is why the Pistons are still winning, because they play defense. A lot of the great defense that they're playing is creating easy offense. And this is ultimately Detroit basketball. So I know it's been shaky on the offensive end, but the defense has been there to carry us, and luckily we're going to get Stewart back next game now, so he'll be able to help us out even more. But at one point in this game against the Orlando Magic, this is the perfect way to describe the Pistons in the past 4 to 5 games. In this game against the Orlando Magic, the Pistons at one point were 0 for 15 in the second quarter, and they were only down by 6 points. I don't know how. If you're shooting 0 for 15 in a game, you are getting popped by 20. Realistically, not even an exaggeration. But yet, throughout the game, Pistons found themselves shooting 0 for 15 and were only down 6 points, ended up taking the lead as soon as they came out of halftime. They went on to have a 31-18 third quarter run over the Orlando Magic, and this separated them and ended up giving them the lead and ultimately helped them win the ball game down in the fourth quarter and down the stretch of the game. But it's mind-blowing because usually if teams shoot this bad, 0 for 15 from the three-point line. They're nowhere near in the ball game to possibly win. And then in the third quarter, Pistons didn't do anything miraculous where they came out just blazing guns, knocking everything down from the three-point line. No, they started building upon the lead because they played great defense, and this led to easy buckets offensively. This led to some open shots offensively that finally started to drop from the three-point line. Thank you, Cade. Thank you, Duncan. Like, eventually these things did start to fall, but it wasn't like they started throwing up a bunch of these threes. It was just momentum shifting because of the defense that the Pistons was playing. And this ultimately is what helps the Pistons win these ball games when they're in tight situations and they're shooting awful from the three-point line. It's that defense that's really helping them. So it makes me think, although, the Pistons found a way to win and all of this, and we went on a good run in the third quarter, it really does make me think that it might be time to get Kevin Huerter in the ball game, man, because these stretches of bad shooting runs, 1 for 16, 0 for 16 in a half of basketball, it cannot continue. We have to figure something out. And especially because Duncan Robinson is the only shooter we have right now. And if Duncan Robinson is in foul trouble, then now we don't have anybody who we can rely on to really knock down a three ball. So I know Kevin Huerter isn't the best shooter in the world or the best shooter in the NBA, but we got to give him a chance, because if we don't, what the hell did we bring him for at the trade deadline? Why did we even make these trades happen? And why did we even make this trade happen if we're not going to give Kevin Huerter any minutes, knowing that he can be our shooter, and we're not using him? Like, we got to be able to use him and at least give it a shot, man, because these stretches of bad three-point shooting cannot continue to go on, especially toward the back end of the season. And I don't think it will be sustainable in the playoffs. It makes me nervous seeing some of the numbers this way, and some of the stretches of the game where it's very lopsided from the three-point line and even field goal percentage. There's a lot of times where mid-range isn't falling and three-point shots aren't falling, and also we're missing layups. So now the percentage is very low, not just from the three-point line. And I think we got to get Kevin Huerter in the game, get him some minutes, start to get him acquired to the lineup, because I know he might not be the best defensive player in the world, and that's what the Pistons pride themselves on, but we have to get some sort of shooting going on offense, because we're winning games purely based on defense right now. And if it wasn't for Cade and Duren putting up the numbers that they're doing on the offensive side, we wouldn't have an offense at all, truthfully. Like, this offense is outside. I don't want to even explain how bad the offense can be at times when Cade and Duren aren't providing anything. But thankfully, we have them, and they're able to make things happen, and the rest of our guys play defense, and this is what's keeping us alive. If anything, when in doubt, the defense is shifting the momentum. The defense, the block shots, the steals, the forced turnovers that we're getting are creating easy offense for the Pistons, but that's all we have in terms of momentum changers outside of alley-oops, because when we're not making threes and we're not making shots at all, these things really, really hurt us down the line. And I just know it's only a matter of time until we see another team where they're hitting on all cylinders and the good defense is not really helping us in a sense, and we're going to have to rely on some offense. So luckily, Cade provides that offense, but Cade is going to have to rest at times. So I'm a little worried, but, hey, man, above all, I am happy. I think Duren has also been another underrated aspect in the offense as well. Jalen Duren, this man has been monstrous just in these past 5 games. When I'm looking at everything that he's been doing, the numbers that Jalen Duren has been putting up over the last 4 to 5 games has been tremendous. This game tonight against the Orlando Magic, or the game against the Orlando Magic, he had 16 points, 10 rebounds, and shot 80% from the field. It was mainly in the paint type of things, but you look at the previous games after that, the last 4 prior to the game against the Orlando Magic, Duren had a career high of 33 points. He had 16 rebounds. He's been putting up a double-double in the last 4 games. I'm talking 25 points minimum and 11 rebounds minimum, double-doubles in these last 4 games. So he's been tremendous. Again, all of these games, they haven't won. They lost against, obviously, the San Antonio Spurs, but they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, beat the Cavs, beat the Chicago Bulls. And I think the identity that the Pistons have right now of winning these ball games purely based on defense will continue to build, because, we get a real dog back, and we get another dog back in Isaiah Stewart. So Isaiah Stewart is going to be able to provide some more rest time for Jalen Duren. And personally, it's a debate between a lot of people and a lot of fans in the NBA, but I think Isaiah Stewart is a better defender than Jalen Duren. As great as Jalen Duren is, I still think Stu is a little bit better because that's the only thing that's really getting him on the court, whereas Duren has a bit more offensive juice on his side, so he's able to provide some more on the floor outside of defense. And Stewart, he's just defense. He's only going to provide something on the floor because he's playing defense. So I'm excited to see what happens with this team, man. And, you know, obviously we got a tough schedule ahead. We got a couple more games in this long stretch. We will play, let's see, it's the Cavs and the Spurs in our next few games. These are the next two teams we're going to look at here in terms of the Pistons and this tough stretch that we've had. But it's been shaky, man. It's really been shaky. And honestly, it's been a little nerve wracking watching these Pistons play against a lot of these teams, some who been starless in these games. But I really feel like the Pistons have been playing to the level of their competition. In a lot of these games, shooting has been bad. The energy hasn't always been there all throughout the game. Now, granted, there are some spurts where they play great Detroit basketball. But outside of that, man, it's been some sloppy play, bad shooting. The defense is not on, and luckily they can turn it on and close out these games. That's been very close through this 4 to 5 game stretch. So I'm glad they're winning, but it's been some scary wins. That's all I can say. But a win is a win. I'll take it. Other than that, look, man, we got some more stuff coming up, so don't go anywhere. I want to take a look at the shot charts as well in this game against the Orlando Magic here, because there's a couple things that I'm concerned about. And just like the whole being of the Eastern Conference right now with the standings and some of these teams that I'm watching, I want to kind of get into some more NBA stuff. So it'll be part of a side note, just some rambling thoughts that I have on the NBA and the state of these certain teams that we're watching right now. So we'll be right back, but don't go anywhere. It is halftime. Bro, I had popcorn before. That was the worst idea I could have possibly did. There's a reason I don't have popcorn before I come on air, bro. Please say something if you see some popcorn. If you see a kernel or something, just let me know, man. Please. All right. Let's jump into the rest of this. Really trying not to be that guy, but oh well. Share the screen. Let's get into the shot chart. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. Hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And, of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. Man, let's look at the shot chart, though. Before we jump into all the other teams and just some of the things that's going on in the state of the NBA, East and West, I wanted to really focus in on this Detroit Pistons versus Orlando Magic shot chart, more so on the Pistons side because, bro, I don't know how they've been winning games, man. It's really hard to understand like how the Pistons have been pulling out these ball games and outscoring opponents when we're shooting this poorly, especially from the three-point line. If you look at this shot chart, this is the full game here. They shot under 50% in this game against the Orlando Magic. But as you see here for the entire game, what, 4 threes? And we can filter it out also to really see what it was. And let me actually just look on the sheet here, because this crazy. I just don't understand how we're still winning these games. And I know it's defense. That's the main ingredient here of why we're winning. But above all, we hit 4 3-pointers out of 30. We shot 13% against the Orlando Magic, but yet we still beat the Orlando Magic by more than 10 points. If that doesn't say this team is a defensive ass team, I don't know what does. If that doesn't say Cade is carrying us on his back and he's the MVP because without his scoring and his playmaking, distributing ability, the Pistons wouldn't dare have a lick of offense on the floor. I don't know what else says that, bro, because it's really insane. And it's unacceptable, truthfully. It's truthfully unacceptable. So look at the shot chart. Just look at the shot chart here and understand that this is this is pitiful. You look at the Pistons shot chart, just clink. In the first half, I think we hit literally 1 3-pointer. Everything else came from inside the paint. Literally 1 3-pointer there. And just a bunch of misses. You look at the Orlando Magic, they're knocking things down. They're getting it done on inside and outside. But ultimately, the second half really shifted because here, and they still made some threes more than they missed. But from what I witnessed from the eye test, Pistons locked in on defense. They started missing a lot more shots, and they created a lot more turnovers. Now I can fact check that with the numbers that I can review here, but that's just what I'm seeing. And even in the second half, we only hit three threes. That's it. So the shot chart, looking at that, was really rough. And even if you look here too at the lead tracker, it was yeah, man. All the back end here was just all Detroit basketball in terms of leading the game. And one of the things too, man, that I can't help but to shine light on it. Players in the league right now doing their thing. Jaylen Brown, obviously, he's doing a great job over there with the Celtics. He's balling out. SGA just returned, so MVP conversation is heating up a lot. But I still just will not put anybody ahead of Cade Cunningham right now in the MVP race, because although there's a lot of stars that's coming back, literally the Pistons have no offensive bone in their body if Cade is not dropping 28 and 10. Like, if he's not doing this, the Pistons aren't scoring the ball, and people aren't being able to get these open shots and these put back layups and these easy layups that the Pistons desperately get inside the paint. Because going back to the shot chart, just to bring this up again, the shot chart here shows that over 80% of the Pistons buckets have come from inside the paint here. Over 80% of the Pistons buckets have come from inside the paint here in this game against the Orlando Magic. They made literally 4 shots from behind the 3-point line. Everything else was right there in the paint. If Cade isn't the one making these threes, or if Duncan Robinson ain't making these threes, then it's over with. Because Cade himself, I believe it was 2 threes that he hit just alone, and Duncan Robinson gave us 1, or it was Javonte. I think it was Javonte Green gave us 1 3-pointer as well. But outside of Cade Cunningham and his offensive ability, we're not getting any offense, bro. We're not getting any offense. And I know Duren has had a great few past games, putting up a career high of 30 points and all of that. And he's developed a lot on the offensive end, but he's still not really carrying us offensively. He's controlling some things on the glass. He's controlling the paint, playing great defense, and being able to knock down some close shots, whether it's a fadeaway, a hook. He has some better post moves, which I love that I'm seeing out of Duren. But ultimately, he's not controlling his offense. Cade is controlling his offense and creating points for everyone else who's getting involved on the scoring total. So that's just a huge reason of why Cade is MVP. I understand what Jaylen Brown is doing. I understand what SGA is doing, what Jokic is doing. That stuff is cool. I get it. But those teams will still very much be able to put up points and have some sort of identity without their stars. We've seen the Thunder, they give teams a run for their money. They still been winning even without SGA. Denver Nuggets, you can't really say the same exact thing, but they still have other guys to be able to score the ball in Jamal Murray. Pistons, nah, not at all. So that's just, it's wild to me. And it really sticks out to me. So to kind of bring up some other things here, there's a few more teams I did want to go ahead and bring up. So let's look at the standings really quick for everyone who is on the live. And if you're on a pod, then you just got to listen up. But so the standings here, I'll go over. I know the Pistons still have the best record in the NBA right now, first in the Eastern Conference. Celtics are number 2 in the Eastern Conference, fairly good team still. New York Knicks number 3, Cavs 4, Toronto Raptors 5, and everyone else after that I'm not too worried about. In the Western Conference, Oklahoma City is number 1, San Antonio Spurs at number 2, Houston Rockets sitting at number 3, Minnesota Timberwolves number 4, Denver Nuggets 5. It's neck and neck all through that 1 through 5 range, but kind of the teams that really I can see as a premier threat. Obviously, in the Eastern Conference, I won't even play anybody in the Eastern Conference. I'll be 100% honest. There's multiple teams in the Eastern Conference that are threats for an actual NBA championship. I see 1 through 4 being legitimate threats to go win an NBA championship. And 1 through 4 is the Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, and Cavs. I think all of those teams get out the first round, and that'll be the core group that we see in the semis is between the Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, and Cavs. Right now, a lot of teams are playing good basketball. 76ers are playing good basketball. They're doing solid for the most part. Obviously, the Hornets, they've been playing really good basketball. The record doesn't reflect that, but the Hornets are a damn good basketball team. Orlando Magic is good. Toronto Raptors is good. So there's some teams that will be threats, but outside of that top 4 between Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, Cavs, I don't really see too many teams like making a huge run to go win a championship in the Eastern Conference. And it's very similar in the Western Conference. So obviously the same teams or the similar teams we have in the Western Conference, top 5 right now, Oklahoma City Thunder, Spurs, Rockets, Timberwolves, Nuggets. Outside of these 5 teams in the Western Conference, I don't see the Lakers winning a playoff series. I just don't see it happening. Man, this team don't play enough defense. This team is lazy. Yes, they have some good nights where they might look good, or Luka might give you a triple-double. That's a 30-point game as well. And LeBron might have a historic night for a 40-year-old man and all of that. But ultimately, I'm not sold on the Lakers at all. This team is just very dysfunctional. And honestly, I don't even think they're well coached. And I like JJ Redick as a former player, as a person. I like JJ Redick the way he approaches the game, but I don't think they're truthfully getting the best out of this team that they have. And a big reason from this starts with the stars that's on the Los Angeles Lakers, meaning Luka Doncic and LeBron James. Because neither one of those two dudes, Luka Doncic or LeBron James, plays enough defense to truly help the Lakers go on a deep playoff run. I just don't see it happening in the Western Conference, especially not when every other team in the Western Conference plays defense. So I could see them definitely getting eliminated first round if they somehow make it to the first round and not the play in, because you have the Phoenix Suns right there. And the Timberwolves, they're another team, man. I think that's a team you don't want to run into in the first round, because Timberwolves have enough to beat you. Now, granted, there are some struggles there, some consistency issues from a lot of the role guys, but nonetheless, you can always count on the Minnesota Timberwolves to play defense. I think as of right now, a lot of teams we see a pattern of these elite teams in the NBA all being solid defensive teams. This is the key ingredient. This is the core ingredient here, is they're all solid defensive teams. So this is going to take a lot of these teams the wrong way, or a long way, I should say. And it's really outside of the top 5 in the standings, and they'll probably change, but if the Lakers go to the 3rd seed somehow, I still don't see them getting out of the first round, man. That's just one example there. And similar to the 76ers. 76ers are playing great ball, and they'll make for a great series. But if they're to match up against the New York Knicks, I see the Knicks winning that ball game. I see them winning that series. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I think above all, man, we're definitely in a great space for the league. And as we're heading down the end of the season, it'll be some interesting games to look at, and a lot of competition. A lot of guys coming back from injury, trying to get into a groove. I'm also curious about the MVP. You know who my vote is. I'm sticking with it, but I stand on where I'm at with MVP. So we'll go from that. Other than that, man, that's all I got for you guys. So I appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back later on this week, and I'm gonna leave y'all on a positive note. The positive note is just gonna be to figure out how to get to where you're trying to go by trying. You can't get there any other way. You gotta put in that effort and step out and actually try it. You gotta do it to achieve it. If you want to fly, you gotta figure out by trying to fly. You can't just all of a sudden jump in and you're flying. No, you got to continue to try. So I'll leave that on a positive note. Other than that, man, that's all I got for y'all. I appreciate you for kicking it. Send this to a cousin, brother, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, coworker, friend, family member, anybody you know who enjoys sports, especially if I talked about their team, whether that's Lakers or Pistons or Celtics, anybody. But other than that, that's all I got. I'll see y'all later on this week. And so on and so on and so on.